Hello, I'm Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
And this is Brother Knows Quest, the podcast where I, your host, introduce my sister to the wonderful world of tabletop role-playing games. Beth, you don't have a clue what we're talking about today, do you?
No.
Okay, well, I wasn't surprised about that. It is this. I know you like simple games.
It's a dinosaur
Yes, but what's it called?
in the water.
Yeah.
EZD6.
Yeah, it's an easy game.
Oh, it's very self-explanatory, isn't it?
It is. Fantasy Mayhem. It's a fantasy game, kind of like D&D. I know he'll like that. It's written and designed by DM Scotty McFarland from YouTube fame. He does a lot of the crafty side of D&D, if you look at his stuff. But he also wanted to play a simpler game. The art is from Sean, S-E-A-N, is that Sean? Shane?
Sean? I'm pretty sure that's a way to spell Sean.
I think it's pronounced Sean. Bova, rat catching, which is the layout and the rat catching, which is quality control editing, I'm guessing, is from Brandish Gilheim. I'm very sorry about the names. Terribly sorry. Runehammer Games published it, so if you know anything about them, they've done another game called, they're another YouTube channel, Runehammer Games. A great YouTube channel when it comes to tabletop role-playing game. They published, what is it called? Index Card RPG, where basically everything can be done with index cards. So I'll cover that next week. DM Scotty tested this at conventions for like 2 years before he brought it out and had it published. So he really is good at what he does. It is very easy to play. The core mechanics go from page 4 to page 21. And that covers things like karma, time, actions, movement, turn order. The DM is called a rabble rouser. They have a section in the book called rabble rousing. It goes from page 44 to 50. And then it goes monsters are 58 to 85. Magic treasures is 88 to 98, 10 pages there. And a handy bit of tips that go from page 102 to 110. And those are by themselves very useful because he's been doing this for years, you know. Oh, and the players are called pushers and shovers. So you got the rabble rouser and the pushers and shovers. Why EZD6, he says? My wish was a smooth running RPG system that avoided the pitfalls of constantly looking up rules, complex character sheets, excessive tracking, and spells that read like stereo instructions.
Yeah.
He dropped all the in-game mechanical distractions. He left enough rules to a great story created by everyone at the table. And he says, you know, the good stuff. Now, in our own games, he asked this questions in here. How much of the immersion was broken from the story because we had to look up a rule or got confused over something? At this time alone, just the time restraint alone.
Yeah.
That was a problem. This is meant to stop that.
That's good.
Yeah. How to play. It's very simple. The rabble rouser will decide the number you must meet or beat for success. The range is between 2 to 6, as a 1 always is a failure. Higher numbers for higher tasks, and I have a chart here. Tasks, easy, you roll a 2. Normal, 3. 4 is hard. 5 is very hard. Super hard is 6. So you roll 1d6. For most combat situations, you will need to roll a 3 or higher to hit your target, and enemies will need a 3 to hit you. Keeps the rules very simple. If you have training in something, it's considered a boon, so you roll an additional die to your d6, so you get to roll 2d6. So it's more, twice as likely for you to do well. If you're good at one particular thing, there you go, 2d6s instead of 1. An exceptionally hard task incurs a bane, which means you roll 2d6 and take the lower of the 2. And the hero die I mentioned earlier in that one chapter. At the start of the session, each hero gets a hero die. This can be burned anytime in the game to re-roll a single dice, even if you rolled a nat 1. Once this is used, you discard that hero die. It can be reacquired at any time by spending 5 karma to retrieve it. You have a karma stat. You get karma by failing rolls. And you start off with 3 karma at the beginning of each session. You start off with 3 karma. And if you fail some rolls, you get more karma every time you fail a roll. So it's a very useful thing. I failed a couple rolls. I got 2 karma from it. Now I got 5 karma. I'm going to use my hero dice. Now I'm out of hero dice. I'll spend that 5 karma to get my hero dice back. There's just a lot of good ways to get some extra good rolls because it is a little dangerous only having 1d6 and you have to, at least hit a 3 on it. Do I have 10,000 hit points like in D&D? No. You have 3 strikes.
I mean, that is like a normal game. That would be simple.
Enemies can take more or fewer strikes than you, depending on factors in the enemy and monster section. It covers that. How do I cover lost strikes? Magic spells, like you would, like a cleric kind of thing. You can also recover strikes by healing naturally and eating a good meal, resting for a night. Stuff you'd expect from a fantasy RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Armor is a hero's first line of defense. Armor allows heroes to make armor saves. After each strike they take, a successful roll avoids the strike. A hero who was hit takes the strike, any armor save they fail. You are hit for multiple strikes of damage, like a crit, you can get to make the roll for each strike point. So there's still a chance that crit won't do as much damage as you think. Villains and enemies do not normally have save roll features. Remember that karma can be used to boost a save as well. In case you get hit real, you think you want to take something that might put you down, you can use your karma die to fix that. How do you make your character, Beth? You choose your hero's path. There's 9 of them. There's the warrior, the warden, the delver, the brute, the rascal, the friar, the conjurer, the beastmaster, and the skald. I'll go into those a little bit more in a minute. Then you choose your species. You have the classic fantasy species. I'll mention those in a bit too. Choose your inclinations, 3 for humans, 2 for other species. Useful abilities and powers to further define your hero. Create 2 aspects or create during gameplay to help make your character feel more natural in the world after you get used to it. Kind of handy. It's the round out your hero concept. If you're a conjurer, choose a circle of sorcery. It defines the type of spells you use. And then you choose your equipment. Yeah, that's fairly easy to describe. I don't know how I would have described D&D that well. I didn't. You have the hero path of warrior, always on the front line, dealing pain to those who oppose you. You have 3 strikes like everybody else. You have heavy armor, save against wounds on a 3+ with a shield, 4+ without. So anytime you roll 3 or higher, you save on your against strikes. Or if you have no shield, you roll a 4 or higher, and your armor protects you from the strike. Your boon is in melee and strength tasks. You have special skills here like shield sacrifice as a free action. Once per turn, you can deflect all attacks damage for yourself or a close ally. Then you have dual weapons. You are deadly at using 2 weapons. And brute strike, you are a monster at 2-handed weapons. You have the warden. Few can escape your overland tracking skills and dead eye shots. You have median armor, and you're a ranger pretty much. You're a trail finder and a forager in the skill section. The hero path of delver. You call dark holes and dark dungeons home. Your boon is melee or ranged weapons and spelunking and subterranean exploring tasks, which is original idea. The only thing I've seen like this is in Numenera, where you could be I'm pretty sure a delve is what it's called. And you will go down to old places and dig up treasures and such. This is kind of sticks out in the fantasy setting. Maybe it's in Pathfinder, but you don't see it very often. Stuff like this.
Yeah.
A minor, pretty much. Then you have the brute. A terrifying force of iron, muscle, and primal rage. You have a strike. You have 5 strikes, which is 2 more than most people. You do have light armor, though. You have to roll a 6 to avoid getting hurt if somebody attacks you. But melee and strength tasks are your boon. You have the ability, you're superstitious. You can resist magical attacks with a boon, or you have sacrifice in rage. You sacrifice one of your own strikes to inflict extra damage to someone, and you're a rascal if you choose that path. Some may call you a criminal, but that depends on your perspective. You have light armor, you have acrobatics as your boon, and tricks, and you can avoid a single melee strike and stuff like that. Gank. If you surprise a foe or an enemy is engaged with another combatant, you roll 2d6 attack die and do a wound for each die that hits. It's very roguey. Then they got the conjurer, a master of powerful forces of magic. You have light armor. Mystical or magical mystery is your boon. Magical mystery tasks is what you got a boon in. You have master of magic, wand or staff, a mystic barrier, and seeker of sorcery. You have a lot of different things added to that you could play. A hero path, a friar, a holy roller, a pious servant, or a crackpot. You can decide.
A crackpot?
Yeah, you could just believe in a god that ain't real and just get magic some other way. You just happen to have magic and think it's a god that ain't there. Or you could be all the above. You could be a pious man and still be crazy. He has medium armor. You have a boon in resisting heretical powers, magic, and religious knowledge tasks. I like how they said you have a boon in resisting heretical powers. And then they have in parentheses, magic. Magic ain't real. If it ain't a god, it didn't happen. You have empathic healing, heal anyone within a nearby range, and holy light. As an action, you can call down a holy light. Light can heal nearby allies or damage enemies. That's pretty useful. The skald. Stories are your trade and your legends are your inspiration. You have a boon in lore tasks and performance. Your scroll master, you can cast magic from scrolls and strands of fate. As one who has studied the omens, you have the ability to manipulate luck in your favor. You get extra karma and stuff by rolling well, doing well. A traveler, on your travels, you have had ample opportunity to hone a skill. Pick a random skill and gain a boon in that ability. And then you have the beast master. You have realized your gift with animals is rare and wonderful. Melee or ranged weapons and beast empathy are your boon. You can do beast speech, beast aid, and beast friend. There's a lot of extra stuff you could do as a beast master. Here's the races. Human, pick a third inclination. We done covered that. Elf, dwarf, halfling, and goblin. You can play as a goblin. Now choose your inclinations. They have a whole list of them, but I'm going to name a few of them. There's alchemist, born blessed. You start each session with 6 karma instead of 3. It's kind of useful. A dandy. Your demeanor encourages diplomatic or amiable situations. Boon to all social checks. A faithful. Demons and undead can only hit you on a +5. That's pretty good. You have a familiar, an imp-like creature. You have a fighter. You have a boon of melee weapon. It's a good way to kind of add some extra flavor. Like you could be a conjurer and take fighter as one of your inclinations. And so you're a conjurer with a sword. A hedge wizard. You have no sorcery yourself, but you can use scrolls to cast magic. That's a good way to get fighters into magic. And you have block picking. It's a good way to get people into the whole rogue-like thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and also marksman. A nimbus of light. As a free action, you can summon a floating orb of light that follows you for the day. And you have sneaky. Victory in failure. You gain 2 karma for every failed roll instead of just 1. And then we have the standard, or specifically cool creatures in the back. And it don't really have much of a setting so much as it is a fantasy setting. So I can't really talk about that, but I could talk about how simple the rules are. And it's all just a D6 or 2 D6s. And it's all on just a couple pages. Another one of these short games I wanted to cover because I knew you liked them.
Yeah.
And it will lead me into Index Card RPG, another fairly simple game that was made by the same publisher next week.
Cool.
Yeah. Would you play this one?
This one seems really easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's even easier than...
well, it's in the title. So.
Yeah. It's even easier than Dungeon World, which is like the Powered by the Apocalypse one we covered by Adam Coble.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? I can't remember. Now, I'll also add a Drive-Thru-RPG link to this. It might be PDF, it might be print, it might be both. It'd be an affiliate link. I'll put it in the description if you're interested in it. But Beth, you said you would play it, right?
Yes.
Which would you rather play, this or Troika?
This.
Okay. I've got one other game that's easier than this to run, but this one has more advice in it for like DMing and stuff because it was made by somebody who's done it for years. I'm not saying the other game wasn't made by somebody who didn't do it for years, but this one is just more approachable. And it's also a prettier book, very green.
Mm-hmm.
I like that color. Neon green, I guess is what it is.
Yes.
If you had to pick a game for us to play on a stream one day for like 2 to 3 hours, what would it be out of all the things we've talked about?
I mean, this one sounds easy, but I forgot. Wasn't there another one I was really enthusiastic about, but I cannot remember?
What was it about? I knew there's a couple.
Old Gods of Appalachia sounds fun too.
It does sound really fun. And we know the area.
Yeah.
We also had the Fallout game. I can't remember which one you might have been the most excited about.
Oh, the fantasy. Well, it's all fantasy. Alice in Wonderland-y looking one.
We're All Mad Here.
Yeah.
From Monty Cook Games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll look into doing that, but just for our trial, I'd like to do something simple.
Simple. This would be perfect for that.
Don't get me wrong. Cypher System is easy to run. It's just a little bit more crunchy than this, but it also has more advancement rule. This doesn't have a whole lot.
This is pretty much to the point.
Yeah. It also doesn't have a whole lot in the way of advancement. Your character won't advance much. It can. It has a little bit in there about it, but leveling up isn't really the biggest thing about this game. It's meant for, like he would run it at conventions. He would go in, run it, and then people would walk off and he'd bring in another group and run it. It really wasn't meant to keep a long campaign going. There is a way to do it, but it isn't really the backbone of this. It's more like a one-shot kind of thing. Start a new thing the next day, go on. But like I said, you can do it. I don't want to give it the wrong impression. That's not how I would do this game, though. Now, where I'm at here is something you could advance through. And it's not a huge book. How many pages are in it?
109.
Okay, yeah, there's 109 pages. And a lot of it's just monsters.
And it's got a pretty good-sized font, too.
Yeah, it's easy. I've never been to a proper convention. But I know there's a lot of people, and you have very strict time restraints on how long you're allowed to do certain things.
Yeah.
If you're going to run a game, you have to keep it into a certain level of...
Short.
Yeah. So...
in that time period.
And this is that kind of setup. It'd be kind of thing you'd pull out for somebody at a party and like, hey, we want to try a game. Okay, well, let's try this. This is a lot like D&D in its own little way.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I apologize to all the people whose names I mispronounced at the very beginning.
It's okay. If you listen to my podcast, then it should not be an issue.
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry. Well, if you like what you heard here, there'll be a Linktree link description in the bottom. You could find our homepage in the first link on that page. Will be our homepage. It will show you all of our other podcasts We have Leveling Duo. It's a podcast where I talk about tabletop or talk about video games with my friend Dakota. We have Horrific History and Hauntings. It's where my sister tells me about exactly what's in the title. Some horrific history, a haunting. A lot of it's true things. Some of it that might be in other episodes are a little bit more fictional, perhaps, because ghosts and all. But sometimes like it's just horrible history stuff. We are trying to start streaming on YouTube. We had been planning on doing it on Twitch, but it's not working out so well in general. So we're moving to YouTube. I've got the setup ready. Find their link in the link tree also for YouTube and subscribe there. You can listen to our episodes there if you want to, or YouTube Music, and you'll be able to watch the streams, and the videos after we stream them will still be on there for watching, for your viewing pleasure. We'll be playing some game. We're going through the Halo series. Beth and I are. She might be doing some Sims. Actually, if it's Sims, it'll be on Twitch. It'll be on YouTube, but it won't be live because she'll stream it to Twitch, and then I'll have to port it over to YouTube, so it won't be live. Thank you for listening. I have been Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
This has been Brother Does Quest. Bye-bye.